SHW. This is our wrestling.
This is insane what we're seeing right now.
We're going out tonight. It's been a long, long time. Make sure I look just right. It's going down.
Heads up, here comes the spread.
All hail the queen!
Another spear, will it be enough?
No, not this
like
way.
this, not like
Come
this,
on.
no.
This is just bedlam right now.
Hey, what is going on here?
Let's start this party, then I'll feel alright.
You've got to be kidding me.
Holy cow.
And now, the voices of SHW, Brandon Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
What is going on, everybody? It's that time of the week. It's Friday, and you know what that means. It's time for the SHW podcast. This is Our Wrestling. I'm B-Double Brandon Benefield, GB Gerard Bonner, the lovely Diana Michelle, and GB, I got to let you introduce our very special guest this evening. Go ahead, buddy.
I've been telling you guys for weeks that we were going to make this happen, and people doubted me, and that's okay. I don't mind being doubted. But the bottom line is I do what I say what I'm going to do. And, of course, next week, the Queen will be here. But right now, it is our esteemed honor, one of the greatest honors of my professional career, to be perfectly honest with you,
Stop.
to welcome the Queen, the undisputed reigning queen of all things SHW. Ladies and gentlemen, Queen Reka Tehaka. Queen, how are you?
Hey. I am well. Thank you guys so much for having me on here. I am so honored and blessed to have you guys here with me. And thank you again for, this is exciting. I'm excited, to make my return and to talk a little bit, what happened last time. So,
Yeah.
I mean, let's not right now, because I'm still kind of sensitive. It's been 5-6 months, but hey.
I'm
sure
actually
we'll get to that. I'm very sure because
Oh, yeah.
GB's got a lot to say about that whole situation.
I do. Don't worry. We have maintained the queendom. Everything is safe and sound. We've not let it get into enemy hands. So you're all good. No worries. No worries at all. So I'm intrigued because I want to get kind of to the beginning of your career. So really, how did things start for you in terms of entering the world of pro wrestling?
That's always the big question I always have to think back to, just because I started out, I wasn't really, I was born and raised on an island. We didn't have TV or anything like that. And even, our neighbor had a TV, but it was all about watching cartoons and things like that. So I wasn't a normal kid growing up. I didn't get to watch wrestling or know anything about wrestling. I moved here to the United States when I was about 12. And I lived in Utah with my family. And crazy story, when my family moved here, we still didn't have much. And my parents were always kind of, put food on the table and things like that. So I was always trying to find ways to be active in sports and whatnot. So growing up, I knew that my parents couldn't afford to get me into sports or anything like that. So I was just try out for sports. And then once I would make it, and I would stop going, and no one questioned it or anything like that. After school, I still wanted to, look and get into other sports and things like that. Because I was always an active kid growing up. I wasn't a normal kid. We're talking about other kids were watching TV and things like that and playing with dolls and toys at home. And I was outside, outdoors, climbing coconut trees, going off on my grandfather's land and just going on adventures by myself. And being a kid at my age at the time, it was very scary. Just my parents were always worried, but at the same time, my parents were always at work. And so but yeah, after school, I wanted to get into something And then I found women's football, and I did that for a little bit till I dislocated my shoulder. And then it wasn't until I met my fiance now, who goes by Manny Lemons, who was a pro wrestler at the time. And when I met him, I was like, he told me he was a pro wrestler, and I was like, oh, okay, is that like high school wrestling? Because that's the only like wrestling I knew about, you know, like. And he just kind of laughed and said, no, like Hulk Hogan, you know, Undertaker. I mean, at the time, like everyone has heard of who and knows who Hulk Hogan is and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, okay, you know, I've heard of it and whatnot. And so when we started dating, he was like always traveling at the time. And I was like, you know, mind if I go on the road with you? So he took me on the road with him. And I was just always watching and supporting him. And that's kind of like, it sparked me one time. It was at an Arizona show, and I was sitting there, and he came out of the curtains. And like growing up, I knew that I always wanted to help people in some way or form. And I always wanted to end world's hunger, you know, when I was a little kid and stuff like that. And I came out the curtain, and I seen how like he was able to interact not only with adults, but like little kids. And it just like got me. And still to this day, when I talk about it, it gives me chills, because like that moment was the moment I knew that I wanted to get into professional wrestling. I wanted to become a wrestler. So it was just like, it was so weird, because like my parents always like believed in, you got to go to college, you know, you got to get a good job, you need to become a lawyer, a police officer, like things like that, just because they didn't want us, especially me as being one of the second oldest, to struggle or, you know, have to go through what they went through to, you know, not having much growing up and stuff like that. But I didn't want to go to college. I thought to myself I was too smart for college, you know, at the time. So when we came back to Utah after traveling with Manny for a little bit, he wanted to open up a promotion, which is now known as Devotion Championship Wrestling. And that's when I told him, I was like, well, if you're going to open up a promotion, you're going to train me. So from there on out, it's been 2.5 years now since I've been in professional wrestling. Although I got thrown to the wolves pretty early, you know, like I started training like for 3 months, and then I got thrown into my first match. And that was pretty scary. It was very scary. I was still learning. I was still, you know, I still am green and new to the business and still learning and stuff like that. But I think I progressed pretty much when I moved here to Atlanta, and I started training out at the Nightmare Factory, and it's been good. You know, ever since. And so happy and blessed about the people that has helped me get where I am now, and the support. Although I would say this business is pretty crazy as when it comes to sacrificing a lot, giving up a lot, and losing family and friends, you know, but it comes with it, you know, like if you truly are passionate and you love something, you're gonna give everything you got, and you gotta put under 10% in everything you do. And you know, you may lose the people now, and you know, missing birthdays and funerals and family events and everything like that, but at the end, you know, as long as you're happy, you know, it'll all be worth it. So yeah, but I'm still here. I love it. I don't regret everything, you know, anything at all. Again, I'm still learning, and we'll see where it goes from here.
So
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome to
Yeah.
hear your backstory, because, you know, we've known you for a little while now, and whenever we see you, whether it's a Nightmare Factory or at SHW, you know, we never really get a chance to delve into like your backstory and all that kind of stuff. So it's really cool to kind of hear that, how you got into the business. And you kind of touched on it there for a second. And I don't know how deep you would want to go, but I am curious, like if you have any siblings and how many, and how your family was, like what they thought about you getting into this crazy world of pro wrestling. And then also you talk about Manny being the one to start training you. What was his thoughts when you approached him saying you wanted to wrestle? Him already being in the business and knowing what it's like, did he kind of go, I don't know, or was he all about it? Or I'm just curious, like your family's thoughts on you getting in the business and also Manny's thoughts.
Yeah, so I am the second oldest out of 5 siblings. I have an older brother, and then 3 girls in the middle, and then 1 boy. And so when I didn't really tell my parents that I was going to go into, professional wrestling. It wasn't until my first debut is when I kind of set my mom down. And I was kind of telling her that, I decided to become a professional wrestler. And her first thought was like, oh my gosh, like speaking to me in Samoan, like, why would you want to do that? You're too pretty. Like, you're going to get your face messed up. Like, you're going to get hurt. Something's going to happen. Like, she had all these doubts, and wasn't very supportive at the time. Like, she just said, that's a waste of time. You should just go to school. And so she was pretty much saying every possible negative thing. I love you, Mom. If you end up watching this, I'm sorry. But she is now very, very supportive. It took a minute. I think she had all those doubts because she didn't really understand and really understand what the business was all about. And she's seen what it was on TV and things like that. And come to find out, like when I was out on my little adventures, my parents would go to their friend's house and actually watch wrestling.
Wow.
So they knew who the Undertaker was. So every wrestler I mentioned to my mom now is like, oh yeah, I know who that person is, or this and that. And I was like, and she actually, my dad actually went to high school with Umaga. So
wow.
hear about that till last year. So yeah, it took a minute for my parents to just kind of be acceptance of me being in the business and things like that. But now they're very supportive. My parents are very excited where I'm going in life, and they love it. They love when they get stopped by the store, or their friends are like from church, oh my God, I'm so proud of your daughter, like you must be a proud parent. So of course they're gonna be like, yeah, that's my kid, And so she came to my first show 2 months ago. It was actually our anniversary show, and she cried when, oh my God.
No.
It was like one of those like moments after so long. I tried to convince her to come to one of my shows, and
Stop it.
she finally did. And I won the state title. And when I was cutting my promo, I could see in the crowd, because it was kind of black, was this crazy lady just like screaming my name and crying in the crowd, and just wouldn't even sit down. She was just like so excited. And that moments like that, like you just can't replace moments like that, because that moment was very special for me. And
Wow.
and that's when I knew, like sometimes parents just have to give their kids a chance to, even if it's not the dream the parents want, like you just got to give your kids a chance to pursue their own happiness in life, because she may not have been supportive in the past, but now she's 1,000% supportive of everything I do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That
And
is-
I'm grateful and happy for that. Um,
Go ahead. Stop it.
Well, you bring up a great point, because I feel like a lot of us, and not even the wrestlers themselves, but the wrestlers and like folks like us doing the ring announcing or the commentary, you know, like I'm sure we've all had family that looks at us kind of sideways, like, pro wrestling, really? Like, why are you so into that? But it's just one of those passion things. Like, we're all so passionate about it, and we've grown up watching it. And like you got into it later than some folks, but I mean, you just became passionate about it. And it's really cool once your family or your parent or whoever it is finally sees that, like, wow, they really are into this, and they're like really good at it, you know? So it's really cool to hear that your mom came around like that. That's really awesome.
on the way to the show, because they live about 2 hours away from where our venue is. My sisters have been coming there. I've always been to every one of my shows, and I knew I was winning the state title, so that was a very very important show for me. And I wanted my mom to be there. Actually, more of my nephew. He's just this 4-year-old who looks like he's 6 already, and my parents are trying to find like some sort of sport to put him in, because he just has so much energy, and he's just like this big like Polynesian kid that I posted one of the videos. He was punching the punching bag and working out with him in the garage and at my parents' place. And all of a sudden I look over and he's like hitting his head on this punching bag. And I was like, goodness sakes, like nothing hurts you. Like he's just like, sometimes I will like pretend to, super kick him and stuff. And he just laughs and like, he'll just try to like kick me back and all the other crazy stuff. But I wanted him to be at my show. And the anniversary show, my mom and my sister arrived at the show, and they called me to come to the door. And she was like, I didn't want to bring Titus. He is just too wild. I'm scared he might just run and jump in the ring, when and start fighting the person you're fighting and things like that. And I was a little bit sad, but I was like, okay, it doesn't matter at this point. You're here. That's fine. And she was telling me after the show, she was like, I was telling your sisters that this was on the way here, this was gonna be my first and last show. Like, I don't know how I feel about people hurting each other, and I just don't want to see you get hurt, but I'll support you from afar and things like that. And she was like, but after tonight, oh my gosh, I want to come back every time you guys have a show. And I had so much fun. Like, it was just like, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, and she stayed throughout like everything, even like the ring tear down, and like she was up to all the wrestlers. She was like talking to them, how like all of them were her favorites and all this stuff. And I was just like, goodness sakes, like, this is a good
You created a monster in one show. That's amazing.
Yeah. And she loves it. Like, I have never seen her so happy. Like, it was just one of the moments again. It was just like, I am so glad that she gave it a chance, because if she didn't, she would be sitting at home, watching from afar, watching what I'm doing on social media. But she loves it. So she's a very proud mom. Yeah. So is my dad's always at work, so he can't really make one of my shows, but my mom records it. So, every time I visit, my dad is always asking me questions and asking how everything is and whatnot. So, but as far as Manny, when I got in the business, I mean, when I told him I wanted to, start training and that he was going to train me, he was actually pretty excited, just because, he was kind of sad in a way that, every time we travel, like, I'm always sitting at the hotel room or just waiting for hours till the show starts. So it kind of made it easier on him for me to, become a wrestler, so that we're able to do it together. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And I think one of the reasons why I love that we're even talking about this is I think too often when fans see their favorite wrestlers or what have you, they can often be so verbal and never understand what's happening behind the scenes. You know, the fact that as a wrestler, you had to push through your family not necessarily supporting you, which I think if until you've never had your parents, you know, support you in a space, it's one of the weirdest things. And it's almost like it doesn't matter what all the other fans say. If your parents aren't down with it, it all feels weird. And
It's
when they
hard.
finally come around, it's
Mhm.
just it's literally like you've won the world title.
Yeah.
And so I am just excited about that. Tell me about this since we're there. Um, how challenging was it for you to push through your parents' initial disapproval of you being a part of the business? I mean, most of us live to make our parents happy. And so when our parents are naturally upset about something or they disagree, it can almost change the direction in which we'll go. But you decided
Right.
to stick with it. How difficult was that for you to stick with this particular passion?
It was, I mean, it was very difficult, especially after not having that first conversation. You know, when I told them what I was doing and what I was going into, you know, and after them being kind of upset, just something in my heart, you know, obviously I had my cries and was thinking to myself, maybe this isn't the right, you know, decision to make. Maybe I should go to school. Maybe I should become something that my parents want me to pursue and whatnot. Um, but just something in my heart, like, was telling me to just keep pushing, you know, just keep going to training. Like everything is going to be fine. Like you're in the right path. Um, and I guess like with the help of Manny, I was just saying, you're fine, you know, it's okay. Like they'll understand sooner or later. Um, and every time I was upset, like I would go to training and then being around like the people there, you know, just kind of uplifted me. Like, and I think that's really important, is having people that support you, even if you think you made the wrong decision. Because if you're by yourself and you don't have anyone to talk to or vent to, it just makes it difficult. And I think when I was at training is what helped me the most. You know, when I'm doing roles or even though I had my own challenges, personal challenges, I kind of left it at the door every time I walked into training. So it was just like a new, fresh mind every time I walked in there. And all I was focusing on was like trying to perfect the things that I was doing in the ring. And that helped me a lot, that's for sure. It was, I mean, it was very challenging because I love my parents with all my heart, you know, and it kind of made it difficult at the time to go over to their house, just because I knew something negative, or they were going to ask me what I'm doing, if I've decided to go to school and things like that. And I kind of avoided it at the time, but when I didn't come around as often, you know, my mom would call and check up on me and ask me why I haven't come over and things like that. And I would just kind of talk to her and just give her little hints and things like that. I think she started understanding that it's not worth for my daughter to just stay away. You know, I might as well be a supportive parent and, you know, agree and support her in every decisions that she makes. And she came around, you know, but it was very challenging at the time. It made me lose motivation at most times, but sometimes in life, if you think that what your heart is telling you and your gut is telling you that it's the right thing for you, you should still stick to it, no matter what people or no matter what people think or say, because at the end of the day, you make your own happiness, you know, like even if the decision's wrong, we're not perfect. Like we make mistakes and we learn from it and we adapt and we move on. But at the end of the day, also, life is too short. And if you don't follow what your heart tells you, then you're going to be sitting around wondering, what if I decide to just follow someone else's happiness instead of mine?
Right.
So,
Right. And
I
a
just-
lot of
oh, go
times
ahead.
your family will be attracted to the passion that you have in your dreams. And that bring, eventually they do kind of come around. And I kind of have a similar situation there with my dad. Like, he's not really for and I'm not even in the ring fighting, but he's really not in, me being in the ring, period, for the thought of something might happen to me. But, now he'll say, well, looks like you have a date booked to wrestle. We can't sing this weekend because you have a date booked to wrestle, but then we're moving around, and he's kind of coming around, but we still don't talk about the awards or anything like that. He doesn't really know about all that stuff. So I get it. I get how they're feeling about it. And it is tough. It is tough, but keep pushing, keep doing your thing. And the more you're shining, they're going to come around. They're going to be good. They'll be all about it, like your mom. They'll be all about it.
well, I also come from a very, very big family. So when I'm not at when I miss out on family events and funerals and things like that, they're always, at the time they were wondering, like, where's Reka? Like, what is she doing? Why is she not here? And I could tell most of them were kind of upset because they, it was very like special moment to them, and I'm missing it. Either if it was a wedding, and I mean, it broke my heart because like I would be on the road and I would be thinking how much fun they were having, or what's going on in my family's life, who's all there, am I really making the right decision, like giving up that to be on the road, going to this. And but now my whole family, they all know that I'm a professional wrestler, and they are all very supportive. Some of them don't come around, but they watch from afar, and I know who they are. So, but the most important people that are close to my heart are here, and they're very supportive towards what I'm doing in life. And that's all that matters to me.
That's right. That's awesome.
Absolutely. And you guys wonder why she's the queen. This
No,
is why.
That's a wonder.
I know there are some haters in the comments who like to tell me regularly who they think the queen is, and I'm glad that they're finally getting to understand why she is our queen. She's handled adversity. She has just done an amazing job with it. I mean, let's be honest. Wouldn't you want your children to be like the queen? Like, seriously. I mean, handle adversity, have a dream, go after it with all of their heart and soul, and be successful? Come on. All hail the queen.
I'll help them.
You're so sweet.
So I have to ask this because this is what's interesting to me. When we first saw you at the Nightmare Factory, at no point did I think to myself, she's only been wrestling a year, 2 years. Like, I never got that from you. So how is it that you've managed to pick up so fast on this business? Because I mean, literally what's happened with you in the last 2 years has been pretty remarkable in terms of the places you've been, the way that you've been able to maintain what you're doing. How'd you pick up on this so quickly?
She played football. Did you not know?
Well, I was going to ask about that, but those
girls hit harder than the guys.
You're right. You're right.
I've always thought of myself as a quick learner. When it came to things I would do in school, I was always like one of those. I was always competitive in a way, like even with sports that I would try out from junior high to high school, and even after high school, I've always wanted to challenge myself to see if I was good enough, no matter what it was. When it came to like a science project, I've always put 100% effort in everything I do, because I knew in my heart that I can do it. I have the wisdom, I have what it takes to make everything that I do stand out than what other people would do. And I've always had that mindset, even in my jobs that I've had, like I would go out and beyond to always just try to be the overachiever in a way, I would always ask questions to make sure that I was that I was doing everything that I did correctly, so I don't have to ask again later. So it came around with, again, everything that I did. And I think I got promoted in my jobs so quickly when I was starting out, just because of, I was always again, putting 110% in everything I do. And I always wanted to outwork other people, not because of an ego or anything, but because in my mind that I can be anything I want. I can outwork like everyone if I wanted to. And I just wanted to show that I had some sort of superpower. Let's just be honest. That's what I was kind of trying to do. Like, I was like, I'm smart. I know how to do this. I think I can outdo this. I think I can, multitask and put all this together. And so, yeah, I mean, I was always a quick learner growing up. I would pick things up very, very quick. And so when I came to the Nightmare Factory, and I already had the tools, I just didn't know where to place them, pretty much. So from the help of the coaches there, I was able to understand, and things made more sense to me, than when I was starting out. And I was like, oh, okay. So now putting all of that together, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now I can move forward without having to take different paths because I'm not understanding what this and that was. Because again, I grew up not knowing anything about wrestling. It was supposed to be just, I want to travel the world because I want to be with my fiance, and then it became a passion, and then it became a dream, and I wanted to give everything that I got to be able to get somewhere in life with what I've decided to push forward in professional wrestling.
Quick
So yeah.
question. As you're talking about the Nightmare Factory, I'm curious, how did you guys get connected? I mean, you're all the way out there in Utah, you're training with Manny, and I'm just curious, how did you guys get connected with the Nightmare Factory? And did you move to Atlanta, or you just came and stayed for short periods of time? How'd that work out?
So I've always believed that everything in life happens for a reason. So we are friends with, I don't know if you heard of him, Roman Rizal. And at the time, I actually met this guy at, we were doing extra work for WBE when they came to Utah. And we just kind of sat at the catering. It was me, him, Manny, and a few of our roster. And we just kind of like got to know each other and things like that. And he just became a really good friend, and we started booking him out to devotions. And because at the time he was like starting out and things like that, and he was like, I just need someone to give me an opportunity, things like that. And Manny was able to give Roman that opportunity at that time to start out with devotion. And so he was very grateful, and he was telling us that he was planning on moving to Kentucky to train out at OVW, which is ran, I believe, by El Snow at the time. So we were able to get connected with El Snow, and we brought him out to devotion a couple of times, and we became really, really good friends with Al. And so we were just kind of talking about what he was doing with OVW, and he was telling us that he was running training, and TV was starting back up again, and he's just doing a lot of big things with OVW. And he just was, with everything that was going on with how we decided to partner Devotion Championship Wrestling with OVW, we thought it would be best to move to Kentucky to, because in Utah, people don't really know that there's wrestling there. So we wanted to just kind of spur out and just kind of spread the word, that now that we were partnered with El Snow Academy, we just kind of wanted to also let other people out there that there is wrestling in Utah. not just the Mormon church, you know, but also
Right.
wrestling.
Yeah.
So it was really crazy because the week that we were supposed to move down to Kentucky was when Manny got a call from Roman, and he said, I think I just came here to Atlanta, and I just trained at the Nightmare Factory, and I think the best decision is for you guys to move down to Atlanta to train at the Nightmare Factory instead of Kentucky. And we were kind of like, no. I mean, we already have this set. You know, we're gonna take over the lease at some house in Kentucky. No, everything is set. And we're like, there's no way. And so we just kind of sat and just was thinking back and forth and like, is this the right decision? What do we do? Like, this is all happening so quick. We literally have a week to, you know, make up what we want to do. And so that's when I was like, I think it's best for you, Manny, to go to Atlanta and see like what's out there. And if your heart tells you, you know, when you get there that this is the right move, then we'll do it. But if not, if you don't have a good experience, then, you know, we already have this plan that's already set. And so that was the plan. So Manny came to the Nightmare Factory, and I was texting him. I was like, how's everything? Did you make it? Like, what's going on? Blah, 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 blah. And he didn't respond to me for the longest time. And I was like, oh my God, like, this is it. You know, like, it's probably bad. Like, let me just bag my bags, make sure that we have our flight to Kentucky. And then after a few hours, he calls me around like 12 or 11 o'clock at night. He's like, so sorry, we just got out of training. But he was just like full, like, I couldn't even hear him because he was like, this is the right decision. I think this is it. This is it. We have to move down here. And he was just so full of excitement. I couldn't even hear what he's saying. Like, I don't know if he was freaking out or like he's happy or anything like that. And
Wow.
I was like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure this is the right decision? This is what you want to do? He's like, I'm 1,000% sure. We're not going to go to Kentucky. Like, no offense to Elle, but I think this is where we are meant to be. I just have a really good feeling about this. And so I was like, okay, whatever. And so after that, then after that week, we packed our bags and we came down to Atlanta, and we were looking for a place to stay. We were in a hotel for about a week. You know, we were surfing for places and stuff like that. And at the same time, we were attending training and whatnot. But when I first started training, I was nervous because I was like, what if I'm not good enough, you know, to be here? I feel like these are the high top level students and everyone is doing such cool stuff in there, and I don't even know what I'm doing. All I have is a few moves in my back pocket and this crazy savage character that when I'm walking up with someone, I have to do the haka first or something like that. And so I remember, and I still have this video of me when I first wrestled and I did the haka, and I looked over at QT's face and he was like he was so shocked. He was like, where the heck did this come from? Or who the heck is this person? You know? And ever since then, that's when I knew, like, this is where I'm meant to be. Just like the atmosphere, the people there were very supportive, and like the coaches like know like what they're doing and teaching the students. And it's still to this day an amazing experience that I'll never forget, for sure. But
yeah, it's amazing the importance of, as you say, being in the right place at the right time, and how certain doors just literally open for you. I mean, the timing of you showing up at the Nightmare Factory, COVID hits, all of these things happen, and then it just feels like all things Nightmare Factory become a pipeline to opportunities in AEW.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, talk to us about what that's like, where now you've made this decision to go to the Nightmare Factory, and it seems like, boom, the whole world opens up for you.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've always liked to challenge myself in everything that I do. So even when we didn't have training, I was always like bothering QT, like, hey, can I go to training, and things like that. Even, I mean, I'm one of those people that I'd rather go to training or get good at what I was doing at the time instead of like going to a party. So I remember one day I was telling Manny, I was like, it was actually my birthday. I was telling him, I was like, I want to go to training. Like, I didn't want to go out for my birthday. I'm getting old, so it was always, again, putting in the effort,
He
and
has
everything.
no idea.
Right. Come on.
Old?
Come on.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, who has time for birthday? My birthday's every day, like I just want to go to training. I want to get better. I want to just keep working. Like at the time, that was always my mindset. Like I just want to work, and just to perfect everything that I was doing. And even, just even getting in the ring, like I felt like it's my home. Every time I'm in the ring, like I just get like this feel, just like a breath of like fresh air. I just like standing in there and just like, oh my God, like it's such a happy moment. Like every time I'm in the ring, it's like, it's such a good feel. Like it makes me literally so happy, like to be, no matter what ring it is, like I'm always so happy because in my mind, I know this is where I'm meant to be. And this is what I was born to do. And so, yeah, it was my birthday and I texted QT and I said, I want to go to training if it's open. And he's like, but it's your birthday. And I was like, yeah. Okay. So I went to training and Manny came over and he's all like, we need to go somewhere. And I was like, no, like, I don't want to go anywhere, whatever you have planned for me on my birthday, I don't want to go anywhere. And then he blindfolded me on my birthday and he took me somewhere and I was like, oh my gosh, like, what do you have up your sleeves? And it's a very special birthday. It's one of the best birthdays ever that I will never forget. So when he took off the blindfold and everyone from my class was there, even some of the coaches. And it was the best time ever because, I sometimes forget that when I'm in my own mind and space, that even if it's not blood or anything like that, but like there are people that care about you and they're always going to be by your side. Again, family and friends that you grew up knowing, like they're all there, but at the same time, like making new friends was always hard for me, but for the people that was there from my school, it was like, it meant the world to me. And that's when like, I knew that there are people that like love and support me no matter what I do. And it was crazy because a few days after my birthday, I get a call from Cody, and he told me if I was available to come work the house show against Jade. And I was like, what? No, like this is too soon. Like in my mind, I was like, I am not ready. Of course I told him, I was like, yeah, of course it would be my honor. Like this is such a big opportunity. And of course I was like pissing my pants. It's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to feel. Like I remember not sleeping for a couple of days because I was just overthinking myself. And, when I went to training the next day, I went in and gave QT a big hug. And I was like, thank you so much for believing in me. And he's like, you deserve it because you've been putting in the work. You've always showed up, even if we didn't have training, like you're always putting 100% in everything you do, and you're always working hard. So You deserve this opportunity. And so, and it all started from there. And I remember when I was at the house show, I was getting ready and I was the only person in this locker room. And I was looking around and I was like, this is where I was meant. Is this all a fluke? Like, are they gonna pull me out and say I'm not gonna be on the show? This is all just a prank. And I remember just like walking up and I was in backstage and I just had like just all this emotion and just all these feels. Was like, I don't know how to feel right now. And as soon as I walked out of that stage, like I was comfortable. For some weird reason, I was comfortable. Like I felt like, again, this is where I was meant to be. Not only in front of a big stage, but I didn't have like, I'm not scared to be in front of people. And I think that's most of people's fear, is that when there's people watching you, you tend to just kind of shut off and be scared in a way. No, me, I was like going crazy. I was doing haka. I was like making all these weird faces. Like if I could find that video, because I know it wasn't recorded, but I'm sure someone recorded it from the crowd and put it on YouTube. I would go back and watch like how my face looked, because I was doing all sorts of like, you know what I mean? Like got that in a meme. But yeah, I mean, my family wasn't there, but the only person that was there at that time was Manny, and he was in the crowd, and he gave me a big hug after the show, and he was crying. I was like, quit crying, like that may ask me, but I'm you know. So yeah, it was just it was one of those experiences that I knew that, you know, this is where I was meant to be. And it was just a really great feeling. Like, I don't know how to explain it. And after that, like all the opportunities with AEW, like the doors and being on Dark and Elevation and things like that, like it was there on out from that moment, you know? And yeah, here we are.
You know, I just want to say a couple things here off of what you've been saying. And that is, you know, GB mentioned earlier how it's crazy how certain things just happen, you know, like they're supposed to.
Mhm.
Whatever it is in the world that makes it that way. It's just crazy how certain things play out. And selfishly, I'm glad you didn't stick with Kentucky, and I'm glad you came to the Nightmare Factory, because otherwise we would have never met you.
Never.
I know.
And so we got to know you early on when you were at the Nightmare Factory. And so what's been really cool for us is to see that development. Yeah, I mean, obviously you were training prior to coming to the Nightmare Factory, but from that point and everything that's happened since then, it's been really cool for us to be able to see that progression. And you also mentioned the match with Jade, which was on that house show. It's like the one and only house show that AEW ever had. It was at Daly's place. And maybe one day it'll come out on a DVD somewhere eventually, but to this point, nobody's ever seen it. However, and I think I could say this, it's never appeared anywhere, and I don't know if it ever will, but GB and I had the pleasure of calling you versus Jade at the Nightmare Factory. You know, we've had several practice shows there, and so that was one of those cool moments too, where you look at where Jade has gone and you look at where you have gone since that time when you both were training at the Nightmare Factory. And for us, it's kind of a geek out moment where we're like, oh man, we just got to call this match for these two future superstars. And now here we are, what is it, like a year and a half, 2 years later since that happened. And you both have gone on to do big things. And so selfishly, I'm a fan of Al Snow, just like everybody else. Don't get me wrong. And, but you know, selfishly, I'm glad you didn't go there and you ended up coming here. But also you guys currently are somewhat affiliated with the Al Snow Wrestling Academy, correct?
Yeah, we still are. We still have that relationship, you know. We still keep in good contact with Al. I call him my uncle because he always gives me a hard time. But he's such a good person. So yeah, we were still able to call our school the El Snow Academy / Devotion Championship Wrestling.
So I guess once he left OVW, so he moved to Utah to have the school at your building, or how'd that work out?
So how that worked out was he came to Utah. He wanted to see what our promotion was all about after we got in contact.
Mhm.
And he kind of did like a manual for how he wanted us to train our students and things like that. And so he came out there and he kind of seen what devotion was all about, and he really liked it. And he was like, what do you guys say about being in a partnership, like, because I know he has like different other El Snow locations. I think there's one in the UK. So at that time he was trying to get a few schools to be named after him, and whatnot. So that's how we became about that. I don't know what's really going on with OVW at this time, just because it's been a while. But ever since then, we just kind of stuck with the Al Snow Academy.
Gotcha.
He was gonna, once in a while when we do meet up, we still talk about how the school is doing and things like that. So because we were just starting out, devotion was just starting out, and so everyone knows who Al Snow was, and I think we wanted to just kind of like get that exposure of letting people out of Utah know what devotion is all about by putting Al Snow on there. So
I love it. I love it. And of course, you made your way to SHW, your queendom.
yes,
And you came in, dare I say, like Miley Cyrus, you were a wrecking ball. It was incredible
A Reka
to
ball?
watch what you. That's a good one, Wrecka Ball. I like that one better.
You could have
I
I
taken
like
that
that
one.
one a lot better. I'll hold on to that. Thank you. Came in like a
About
Wrecka
to get
Ball.
crazy.
Yeah,
Wrecka- we need to write these down. I need to write these.
we do, right?
Yeah, that could be a new finisher, the Wrecka Ball.
Ooh.
There it is.
Don't worry, we'll put it over on commentary. We know the commentary guys.
Yeah.
We'll have a word with them.
Look at
Um,
that.
But talk about what it was like to make your journey into SHW.
Yeah, so I mean, I've heard of SHW. When I was starting out, I heard that SHW was, one of the biggest promotions here in Atlanta. And so I was like, ooh, I think it would be cool to, get not only on the bigger stage, but also in my hometown right now, just to see what's out there. And I remember sending a message just saying, hey, do you guys have any, is there a chance I could come in and things like that? And they messaged me right away and they say, yeah, we actually have a storyline for you. Actually, no, let me just backtrack. After having a conversation, with you guys, when you guys came to the Nightmare Factory, is when it all kind of started. Okay, after putting in a little good word, so when I messaged them, they were able to help me out and knew who I was. So that's when it started. But when I came over,
By the way, we weren't trying to get you to put us over, but
No,
it's just happened to be part of the story.
I needed to, because I can't forget the people who helped me get, to where I am now. So of course I'll put you guys over 1,000%, because that's the truth. And everyone needs to know the truth. I'm sorry.
Tell it, preach it.
there it is.
So, but yeah, so he said that he had a big storyline for me, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I haven't even stepped foot in the ring, and you already have plans for me. Okay, we'll see where this goes.
Mhm.
So when I came over and I met everyone, just when I walked out on that stage, like the energy from the fans. I mean, I'm sure some of them seen me on TV, but just like the energy was just like amazing. It was so different. I can't really like explain it. It's just. And I thought in my head, I was like, no wonder why this is one of, the best promotions here, is because of the fan and the people that work here. That's just like such an amazing environment that you want to be in. And and just walking in that ring, I was just comfortable being around the fans and being around people and being in front of the camera. I was just like, I was born to do this. Like, come on, Haka, I'm here to wreck some balls.
Boom.
It's just such, again, grateful for the people that contact. And just, I love SHW. It's such an amazing promotion. Like, I so grateful for people that are running it, and they have such amazing talents, and just everyone there. The fans though, they be wild. They be wild.
Yes.
A little bit.
A
little
lot.
bit.
Yeah.
Oh, you missed it at the last show.
I still love it.
They are crazy. My first experience of Reka Tehaka was at your debut at SHW. And I remember you getting there early and everything, and introducing yourself. And I was like, wow, who's this chick? You know, I mean, she looks badass, you know, whatever. But I didn't put it together what your role was going to be that night. And even when you came down the ramp, I was like, holy crap, who is this? Because I mean, you were just in street clothes when I saw you the first time. And then, you know, before the show, it's crazy for me either way, because I'm running all over the place doing God knows what. But when you came down the ramp and your video hit, you came down, I was like, who is this? You know? And then, like you said, you came out like you owned the place, and your aura just resonated through the whole place. And it was just like, this chick is here to stay. She's going nowhere. So it was quite an experience. You made a big impression on Diana.
Oh, well, that's what I say every time I see you in the ring, you know, and you're doing the announcing. And so I was like, girl, like, who's this girl? You know, so gorgeous. Like,
baby.
Your voice is just like so amazing. Like, when you sang that national anthem that one time, I had no idea it was you. Like, I had to look through the curtains, and I was like, no way. No.
My little secrets.
No, don't let it be a secret. Embrace it. You have
You're quite a singer yourself, ma'am.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yes. What about secrets? Quite a singer yourself. Thank you.
But yeah, it's just, you're an amazing person, and I love seeing you, for sure. And I love seeing these guys at their famous desk, you know. Sorry,
man, they are the best. If you didn't know, meet my brothers from another mother. I mean, good Lord.
I don't just happen to have it sitting right next to me.
Okay.
Wow, you got
Just, sorry.
I mean, mine is back there, but I mean, you just right there. I mean, geez.
no, you guys deserve it. You guys
Wow.
deserve it, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we've got to get to what many are calling the best match, the best women's match in SHW history. The strap match, the infamous strap match that happened at Still Here 3, which in my mind and a lot of other people's minds, there's still a lot of controversy surrounding this match. Tell me your feelings about that match, because that match was incredibly physical. That match was one of those things that I don't know if people were fully prepared for what they were going to get, though they knew it was going to be Smash Mouth. It blew the doors off of SHW. Talk a bit about what you felt like during that match.
I mean, it was a long time coming, and me and Danny had built up history for sure. So I think from her frustration and my frustration, we were just pretty much ready to just, for everything we had, you know, towards each other. And that night, it was all said and done, you know, like we didn't talk much because we had a lot to say in the ring against each other. Mm-hmm. And even though it was very physical, and but I still respect her to this day, because she put on one hell of a fight for sure. Yeah. She came on top, you know, whatever. I would.
Here we go. Go ahead, G. Go ahead.
I want the queen to speak. This is her space to say what she needs to say.
Place, you know, and like what a minute or so. The past few times that I did, I guess she caught me off guard, but I'm not going to let that happen again, and I definitely think there should be a rematch. But we'll see. We'll
Look,
see what the people want.
let me just tell you, and I know GB will agree with me here, but let's say you guys have another strap match. How about we do it the normal way, where the winner has to tag all four corners, which is what we thought was supposed to happen as we're calling the match, which is why we were very confused. And then that's why GB had a good point of going, well, there's a controversy here. That's not how you win the match. So Reka got screwed here. That's not how you win.
Yes.
Hmm.
That is
I don't know.
exactly what happened.
Valid point. Oh my gosh.
Right. So anyways, we'll just put that out there that anyways.
Well, I
let
feel
me
like the 50th time it's been put out there, because this point gets driven home every time.
Well, I'll just say this, okay? The person who's running around trying to call themselves the queen has not been inside of an SHW ring to fight ever since the strap match. So that tells me that the true queen, who is sitting right here, who will be back representing her throne next week, there's not a question at this point. You put Danny Jordan out of in-ring competition in SHW. That's because you're the queen.
So do we end it here? I mean,
I'm not touching that one. I'm just saying because
I'm
Danny has
quiet. I'm gonna let him have his time.
Danny has a history of punching me in the face, so I'm not even gonna touch that one. That was all Gerard. But hey, I do want to ask this when we're talking about that strap match. That particular night, okay, we had the double ring because we're gonna have the War Chamber, and normally our booth is right down there on the floor, right next to the ring. Well, this particular night, because of the setup and the two rings, we're up on the stage. And I'm thinking to myself, hey, we're out of harm's way. We're not even going to get messed with tonight because they're all going to stay down there. So whose idea, and I think I know whose idea it was, but was it you or Danny that said, hey, let's go up on the stage and get all over the announce booth? Whose idea was that?
I don't really remember, but because we wanted to just beat the crap out of each other at that point, we just wanted to just take it everywhere. She was pulling me, I was pulling her. We just ended up on your guys' table. I was like, all right, I might as well put on a good show. And because you guys were always there, I just wanted to make sure that, you guys a little bit of piece of that too, But,
well, let me just say, GB got a front row seat. And he couldn't have been happier if you heard the commentary repeatedly.
I serve
saying,
at the pleasure of the queen. I serve at the pleasure of the queen.
With his bag. And
my pleasure.
And, oh, hell, the queen. Oh, hell, the queen.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
It was so great.
It was great. It was great.
Thank you.
It's quite the visual. Quite the visual. It was awesome.
Yes, and for everybody watching, if you have not seen that, please go back to IWTV and rewatch that.
I would
for all reasons.
Oh my God.
Well, hey,
I think we should have one death match just to put an end to it all.
Okay, so tell me the rules for a Samoan death match.
No rules.
At all.
Taps out. Not even taps out, just passes out. You get hit with the coconut, like an actual coconut. I don't think you can come back from that, but
sign me up.
I'm pretty hardcore when it comes to things like this. I've been chased with the spoons, when I was young to listen to my parents. So
football, okay? That's hardcore. That's hardcore.
Yeah.
Well, while we're talking about different matches, let's talk about next week. Coming up next Friday, SHW 37 on March 4th. You've got a match with Heather Monroe, who's a newcomer to SHW. We have heard of her. Obviously, she's been all over the country, been on AEW Dark a couple times. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, GB helped me out. Was it at Center Stage that we actually saw Reka and Heather in a match?
Yeah, Championship Wrestling in Atlanta.
Yeah, not too long ago. So what do you have to say to the fans and or to Heather Monroe in regards to the match next Friday?
She should already know what I have to say. I put her in her place, you know, when we were at Wrestle America. No, it wasn't Wrestle America. Is it Atlanta Championship Wrestling?
Yeah.
Correct. Center stage. Sorry.
Right.
So we have history pretty much, and I've beaten her before. And I mean, there's not going to be any difference when she comes to, you know, SHW. She's going to know that I'm the true queen of Atlanta. And let's just say she may have traveled all over the country and wherever she came from. Maybe I'll send her home with a participation trophy. Who knows, you know, for coming all this way to get her butt kicked. But I'm Reka Tehaka. I'm here to stay. So if you want to bring everything you got, well, I don't have much to say because I'll just show you in the ring. But for you, Heather, maybe I'll beat your ass up just like how I did Danny Jordan in under a minute. So, who's ever's ass you got to kiss to get here and think you're going to be on top, we'll see about that.
Whew. I couldn't be more proud. This is why she is the queen of the queendom, folks. No one's coming in here to take her off of her throne. And so she's kind enough to return next Friday. You need to have your tickets to watch the queen in person, because I promise you.
Will we get to hear GB sing you down to the ring? We have to ask permission for this.
Now, let me
Can
just
he
say,
accompany you and sing you down? I will give up the microphone if he will sing you to the ring.
Lord.
so Reka, let me just explain. Last week on the podcast, and it's okay if you didn't hear it, but we had a segment in the podcast where we got really excited thinking, oh, how great would it be if GB sang you to the ring?
He has a voice of an angel. Talk about a singer.
Please do. I've heard him sing on one of your guys' podcasts. Yeah, I did. I was filled with love. I was like, how is he hiding this talent? But
thank you. And if he could play the organ at the same time, that would be amazing.
Boy.
He's a man of many talents. All right.
So there you go.
But we keep the focus on the queen.
Go ahead and work it out. How you want to sing it to the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So we just need to talk to the people in charge, because now you've got Reka's endorsement.
Boy.
You know we're behind it.
Rose petals.
I'll let everything out till GB sings.
Well, there you
and
go.
Diana is the background singer, or maybe sing a duet or something. We'll and just like in the background.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll play the air drums for some reason.
We will work it out.
Do it.
All right. Well, real quick. Next Friday, SHW 37, March 4th. Let's go down this card real quick and tell you what's on the card. We've got Judas taking on David Ali, #1 contenders match. You're going to have Jordan Kingsley going one-on-one with Dylan McQueen. You've got Brian Cannon finally making his return, going one-on-one with Gunnar Miller. You've got the Lynch brothers will be addressing the crowd. We don't know what that's going to be about. Hopefully they're going to explain their actions after the last show. You're going to have our buddy, the Killbilly, Nathan Mowry. I'm not sure what he's getting himself into, but he's facing Tank. And who knows how that's going to go down.
He just posted a video of him lighting himself on fire and putting himself on the table. So, I mean,
he's crazy. The guy's crazy.
He's different.
Of course, we've got the championship cage match, which is going to be Owen Knight in a rematch defending against Joe Black. And, of course, our very special guest here tonight, Reka Tehaka, making her return after nearly 5 months, taking on newcomer Heather Monroe. It's going to be quite a card. You're not going to want to miss it. And it's next Friday, SHW 37. Tickets go on sale at the door starting at 5 o'clock. Doors open at 7 o'clock. Bell time at 8 o'clock. And, of course,
go ahead and order that SHW podcast T-shirt when you add it.
Well, there you go. Absolutely. So, yeah, ProWrestlingTees.com/SHW pod. You can find the SHW podcast T-shirt and wear it to the next show. It'd be great. You can come get your picture with all of us. Now, Reka, before we get out of here, go ahead and give everybody your socials, all your social media handles, and do you have any merch or anything like that for sale you want to plug while we got you here?
For a second, I thought you said give everyone your social security number. I was going to say. There you go.
That is what I said. What's the big deal?
But you can find me, Reka Tehaka, on Instagram, same as Twitter, same as Facebook as well. And I also have t-shirts on Wrestling Pros. Is it Wrestling Tees? Oh my
Pro Wrestling Tees.
My brain today.
That's okay.
And yeah, I think that's all my social security.
Oh, well, we cannot wait to see you. We cannot wait to see you back in the action building for SHW 37, and we will be back. Don't forget 7 to 7:30 with this show, which will serve as the pre-show before the main show. How many times can I say "show" in one sentence?
Show.
Right.
show. Thank you, Reka, for being on this show, and we'll see you next week. But until then, this has been. Oh wait.
SHW.
What happened now?
I don't know. I thought we got to let Reka say what. I thought she was going to say something before.
What were you saying?
No, the joke has already passed.
Oh no!
Next week's show.
Oh, there you go. I jumped to our outro too soon. Anyways.
Oh, it's all good. It's all you.
Until next time, this has been
SHW.
This is our wrestling.
There we go.